Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the Lorden Arts channel. I'm John Lorden. Thanks so much for spending some time with us here today. Today, I had an article grab my attention, and it's about an app, and it has me asking a question. Is an app named Citizen actually about being a good citizen? On its face, it kind of sounds like something I've been dreaming of for years, but as we crack into the details, I don't know, looks like something else might be going on with this. Let's learn about it together here at citizen.com, where people protect each other. If that's the mission statement, I mean, sounds like something I would immediately sign up for, be on board with. Connect and live more safely. Citizen is a personal safety network that empowers you to protect yourself and the people and places you care about. Download for access to real-time 911 alerts, instant help from crisis responders, and safety tracking for friends and families. A few of these features I'm already kind of getting from other products, safety tracking for friends and families, many different products out there that are giving us that, or that you can download for that. But if you look at the graphic that's going on here, the first thing I thought when I saw all these clips, I felt like it was like TikTok for terrible occurrences or something. Like it's totally grabbing my attention. I'm interested in every clip that it's showing, but then thinking about what they're showing us and applying that to issues of safety. A bunch of guys pushed a boat back into the ocean. Is that really an issue of safety or something I'd be concerned about? Maybe if I lived close to the area, in a way, as a news segment type thing, I'd be concerned about that. But as a safety thing, I'm not sure. Firefighters shutting off a fountain, taxi cab crashed into cafe, Corvette overturned after accident. Some of the stuff that they're showing here as their kind of examples isn't really fit in the where people protect each other thing for me. Here they've got some kind of examples. Man rescued from Chinatown fire. Lost dog returned to owner. I think it's Nextdoor. That's an app that I hear frequently come up where people, particularly not just for pets, but for missing persons cases, are using that. There's actually one where I wound up reaching out to the person and trying to help them. Thankfully, their loved one was found eventually as well. But family escapes burning building, missing 10-year-old girl found, Uber driver saved from shootout. It's weird. Obviously, a lot of topics that, yes, I would care about. I would care about these people having good results in these situations. I'm just kind of wondering about the aspect of your world being safer with Citizen, kind of as they're stating it here. And I'm not the only one wondering about it. There's been some articles lately that have been kind of asking some pretty tough questions. And in one case, highlighting a bit of a dangerous example over at vice.com. Andrew Frame was excited. The CEO of the crime and neighborhood watch app Citizen was whipping himself and his employees into what he'd later call a fury of passion about a wildfire. Citizen had gotten a tip that the wildfire was started by an arsonist, and Frame had decided earlier in the night that the fire was a huge opportunity. I'm just going to stop it there for a second, because it's already kind of put me off to identify a natural or unnatural disaster, a trauma of some kind, as an opportunity. An opportunity for what? And that's where I'm worried about concerns that a CEO of an app would have versus someone that is really trying to think about being a good citizen and help others. There's almost a slider that I imagine between the two extremes of caring about people, being as helpful as I can directly to them, to being successful, getting the most views, getting the most users, and that kind of stuff. And I don't know where a CEO for an app like this would fit. I think we're going to get a better sense as we go through this. But already just hearing that the CEO has identified a potential arson situation as an opportunity. What is that? Citizen, using a new live streaming service it had just launched called On Air, would catch the suspect live on air with thousands of people watching. I just want to boil that down. How would that actually work? Like, I get the idea of it. You've got citizens, right? So something happens down my block. I decide I'm going to go down there. I fire up a live stream and I'm catching it. And I don't want to deny, I don't think anyone can deny live streaming. It seems like more to Facebook in particular, but live streaming in general, just as a technology, has certainly caught some acts that should be prosecuted and thankfully have been prosecuted successfully, in some cases resulting from the exposure from the live stream. So I get all that. But what about this process of, so let's say I did know where this arsonist was. Is it that I'm going to go and arrest this guy while I'm live streaming, like a citizen's arrest or something? Like, that could be a pretty bad situation on a lot of fronts. If it's not that, what's the best secondary? That I'm going to be following in a SWAT team as they kick down a door or something like that? Once again, terribly dangerous situation. Is there any situation we could think of, someone that would be concerned about being captured by the law because they literally just started a fire, where it would be safe enough for an average person? We're not talking a journalist. We're not talking someone that, does this on a day-to-day basis, but someone that just has a cell phone in their pocket to go ahead, turn on that cell phone, go follow this situation and wind up potentially wrapped up in it. I'm pretty concerned about that. And especially when you take things to the next level, it'd be one thing if you had a citizen that was concerned enough to do that. But remember, you've got the creator of an app concerned about a certain level of attention. What happens when you skew a person from just being a good, responsible citizen to being monetized behind that? Frame decided the citizen user who provided information that led to the suspect's arrest would get $10,000. And it doesn't stop there. Citizen got more information about the supposed suspect. They obtained a photo of the man, which they kept up on the live stream for large portions of the night. Breaking news. This guy is the devil. Get him. By midnight. We hate this guy. Get him, Frame said on social media. He increased the bounty to $20,000. Close in on him. $30K. Let's get him. No escape. Let's increase. $30K. Notify all of LA. Blast to all of LA. So, the amount very quickly rising, very drastically rising, all the while this guy's picture being run on this app. And everyone's effectively out looking for this guy. One staffer brought up a loophole, pointing out that Citizen was violating its own terms of service that prohibit posting of specific information that could identify parties involved in an incident. What was Frame's response? The more courage we have, the more signups we will have. Go after bad guys. Signups will skyrocket, period. We should catch a new bad guy every day, Frame said. So it's very clear. I get it. It's a weird spot, right? First of all, identifying people in general as bad guys based off tips that have come into your service. Who has researched those? Who has vetted those? We don't know. Someone sends in a picture, says it's this guy. That picture is now posted. You've got thousands, potentially tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people all of a sudden looking for this guy. Friends of his, family of his, possibly seeing this, saying, "Oh my God, my cousin is responsible for this." After midnight, police made an arrest. Employees cautiously began to celebrate. Cops said it's an ongoing investigation. This looks like our guy, one employee wrote. It wasn't Citizen's guy. Frame and the entirety of the Citizen apparatus had spent a whole night putting a bounty on the head of an innocent man. I frequently talk about working in this space and how imperfect it is. And keep in mind, the stuff that I'm presenting to you guys is coming 95% of the time, I would say, from journalistic sources. Some of them are known and trusted. Some of them, sometimes you guys don't trust them. That's a big part of why I'm always showing you guys the sources. That's a big reason why that's never going to go away. I want to leave it in your lap to make the decision about the information based on where that information's coming from. This is like a nightmare scenario. This is something that is a stress that I kind of deal with in some ways, because sometimes you do have media do coverage of a particular case, talking about a particular person, and they turn out to not be the suspect in the end. But this is almost spinning this up into a news cycle format like this. I don't think that's the way to go. I don't. I get the benefits of a Nextdoor type of app. Growing your community members warning each other, helping each other. Hey, my cat's missing, my dog's missing. Hey, this particular area has been getting kind of bad at night. I see benefit in that kind of thought out, vetted dialogue, but also, once again, you're able to consider the source. You might see the same person on that app over and over, and at some point come to know, well, that guy's just full of BS. That person's always complaining about that area, and I go down there and I don't see any problems like they do. This is kind of speeding it up to a point where I think it gets really, really dangerous. And then the motivating factors, if you are not being so clear that this is about citizens helping other citizens, this is what happens. It gets gamified at some reason. It becomes literally a game. It's a game for the CEO of wanting more signups, longer views, more live streams. It becomes a game for the people that are watching it. I want to collect on this reward now, but there's even other aspects of it. Vice continues here. Users are flooded with notifications in what multiple sources interpret as an attempt to make users feel anxious enough about their neighborhoods to buy a product called Protect. $19.99 per month service that allows users to live stream their phone's camera and location to a Citizen Protect agent who monitors it and sends instant emergency response in case of an emergency. So that's almost like a personal security device that they're kind of getting to at that point. There are so many other services that do this already. And I think I would trust those services a bit more than a service that's showing me its focus in the way that this story is laid out in particular. They're also noting here the return of a missing autistic teen to his family in the Bronx earlier this month was done by Citizen employees on a street team that films and interacts with people while pretending to be ordinary app users. We're going to get into that a little bit more in the next article. Employee performance is measured by how many seconds it takes workers to input an incident into the app and how many incidents they cover. So that's another thing. They're talking about it from their own marketing, like, oh, you're going to get 911 information. Well, how are they doing that? Are they tapped into 911 systems to pull that information out? No. I think they've got people that are listening to scanners, people that are just sitting, listening to police scanners, hear a call come out, take that information, transcribe it. Basically, I'm sure there's some web form they just type it into and then kick it off. And then that instantly blasts out to people in that area that have the Citizen app. The thing is, that information isn't checked at that point either. Like, you might have police that get a call to go to a particular scene because they're afraid of someone breaking into a house. They get dispatched, they go there, they find out that it's the owner of the home who locked his keys inside or something of that nature. But the Citizen app they're not getting the follow-up. They're just getting the initial call that goes out, break-in attempt on Main Street. It's really, the speed of it is a problem from my mind. But what is this about employees? Fox Business actually reported on this. Citizen pays New Yorkers $25 an hour to live stream crime scenes. The app that formerly called itself Vigilante, and which now boasts more than 7 million users across 30 cities, is also quietly recruiting field team members on journalism job sites to run around the city chasing emergencies. A user named Chris, who goes by @cgutter_, spent Thursday biking around the Bronx to at least 6 different emergencies, including a bloody bus wreck on Morris Avenue, and a report of gunshots on East 175th Street. Chris has streamed 1,600 videos that have racked up 1.52 million views according to his profile. So there's another thing. His profile, apparently, on their own app is boasting how many videos, how many million views. Is that really terms of credibility for being a good citizen? In my mind, no. View count and view time metrics would not be the focus, at least for me, in terms of determining who a good user is on that app, particularly when they're being paid by the company. This guy's being paid an hourly rate to run around and do this. Asked about Chris's frequent streaming on the app, a Citizen spokeswoman acknowledged last week that he works for the company. Nevertheless, Chris is not flagged as an employee of Citizen on the app. Instead, he appears to be just another concerned New Yorker. Now, I do want to point out, I think there is a spot for citizen journalism because mainstream journalism has taken such a hit over years. I mean, it's not what it used to be. And crime reporting, I've talked to reporters. They've told me they are severely overworked, understaffed. They're covering larger and larger areas. And what does that mean? They're only getting to kind of the bigger and bigger crimes to cover those. And some of the more medium or smaller type of crimes, that stuff never gets coverage at all. So I do think there's some need for citizen journalism in some way like this. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing that Chris could be paid by a company to go out there and report on instances like this. I think where it's breaking down is, first of all, flag him as an employee, call him, citizen reporter or something like that. Make some special badge for these guys. Why is that supposed to look like a regular user? I don't know. And because of that, like, let's say Citizen sends Chris into a situation and they're kind of like, oh, look at the views that are going on here. Hey, Chris, get your camera and, stick it in the window of this building or something like that. What if he gets nudged into actions that could be potentially dangerous in some way, and you have not categorized him as being different from your regular app users? Now, maybe Joe Lorden walking down the street thinks, oh, I got to do like Chris does. Hey, look, this house is on fire. Let me, stick my arm in the side of the window and trying to get some footage of this. It's troubling in several different ways. But here, the spokesperson's kind of using that same mechanism to address it in a different way. Citizen has teams in place in some of the cities where the app is available to demonstrate how the platform works and to model responsible broadcasting practices. So I guess if they lay out for Chris, don't do those types of things that could be dangerous, that is in some way supposed to model responsible broadcasting practices, even though you haven't identified that he's an example of that. That speaks even more to the fact that his account should be flagged in some way with some kind of badge. Buzzfeed also commenting on this. This has been contributed by a man named Justin Brannon. We're going to see why he might actually have some insight that makes some interesting parallels with what's going on here. Police searching for armed robbery suspect, the push notification yelled as I sat at a traffic light recently. Coincidentally, the alert claimed this chaotic event was unfolding right at the intersection where I happened to be. I looked to the left, nothing. I looked to the right, zilch. I see no activity. Everything's ordinary and calm. No police, no armed robbery suspect, no search, no hunt. If we had a tumbleweed in Brooklyn, there would have been tumbleweed at this intersection. Then it happened again. I'm in line to grab a coffee at Dunkin' Donuts when suddenly I see 4 cop cars swarm the parking lot like gangbusters. Turns out some teenagers were squabbling and one of them ran into the Dunkin' Donuts bathroom to hide. Everyone disperses. A few minutes later, I look at my phone. The Citizen app says, "Report of attempted robbery at the Dunkin' Donuts." There was no robbery. I knew this because I was literally right there. I'm a member of the New York City Council. I represent about 150,000 people across 4 neighborhoods in the borough of Brooklyn, where I grew up. Crime is now at historic lows in the city. To be clear, Citizen really can be a useful service when the stakes are high and information needs to move fast, in the case of a search for a missing or vulnerable person, for example. But Seriously, if I were to call 911 and say that 4 albino tigers were currently mauling the editorial staff at the Buzzfeed headquarters, that's exactly what would appear on the app. He's highlighting that problem I was talking about before. If you're just reporting on what's coming over police scanners, you have the weakest of the information in terms of law enforcement based information. If I'm reporting on a murder that happened 15 years ago, we've got information that has been developed by police, then figured out to be released through media. That level of information is in a much different place than I'm at home listening to my police scanner, typing in what it says and hitting the send to all button. Information might be power, but living in a constant state of unfounded anxiety and fear is anything but. Hypervigilance is a real thing, and it's not healthy. I've already gone way longer on this topic than I thought I was going to, but it reminded me of a movie I've seen before about news people running around in the middle of the night, kind of in a similar situation. And I just wanted to mention it. I've talked about it on the channel a few times before, but if you get a chance to check out Nightcrawler, take a look at it. It's an interesting look into kind of this as a profession. And what I'm seeing with Citizen is effectively they are now making it a profession for a whole new group of people and potentially a much larger group of people as well. I can only imagine that if they're paying people to do this type of coverage now, they're going to figure out some monetization aspect for the regular citizens as well. And what happens at that point, I don't know. I'd almost guarantee that the people that are actually listening to the police scanners and punching that stuff in, I bet they're paid as well. I don't know. I want to look at something like this and know it's coming from a right place and be able to support it. And with this one, I can't. I feel, it feels like ambulance chasing. I don't know. What do you guys think? Are you using the app? Do you have some better experience that you can share with me about it? Please tell me about it in the comments down below. Sometimes I'm bringing these topics up to you guys because I'm getting a feeling or I'm starting to have a sense about something and I need more insight. So that's why I'm sharing this with you. Is there aspects that I'm missing in this? Is there benefits to the speed of this? I think, like the city council member pointed out, in particular for endangered missing cases, I see a huge benefit. How often is that really the focus of this app? I don't know. That's kind of one of the things I'm wondering about. And to be honest, how would the effectiveness of this app work if you weren't holding the attention of your users? So there has to be some kind of middle ground where, yes, you're covering these events super localized in some way where if I get a push notification, I'm going to pay attention to it. But if I know that those push notifications are just bad transcriptions of what's happening on a police scanner, at some point that's going to numb me out. And when I do see one come across that says vulnerable adult missing, on your block, am I going to hold as much attention for that one as well? I don't know. I think at some point you kind of burn out your users with that constant ping, but let's talk about it in the comments down below. Take care, everyone. I hope you have a great day. I'll be back on Friday with a brand new mystery for you right here on the Lord and Arts channel.